In a rainy day in LA, the Rams hold on and beat those damn Seattle Seahawks in a nail biter. My God, me and Mark were sweating that whole ending of the game, everyone. But how did these Rams get to that W? Me and Mark will talk about that next on this post game reaction episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian. That's Mark. If you're on YouTube, like this video if you enjoy our content. Subscribe to the channel if you love our content, and then turn on a notification bell if you don't want to miss any other episode through the rest of this fun 2025 season. And if you're on the audio only or podcast only side of things, hey, share this podcast with all your fellow Rams fans out there. And guys, any of those options helps other Rams fans see our goods. And me and Mark, we very much appreciate. But 2 claps for a great Rams win. Thank freaking God, Mark. I would have had a meltdown if they would have lost. Now, let's hold myself accountable here, everyone. I did pick the Rams to lose this in the game preview episode. I thought the kicking issues would be the difference in this. And well, while that was semi-true the way this game played out, luckily, the defense said, not on our watch. We're going to win this game single-handedly pretty much. And thank God for that unit against elite, quote-unquote, Seahawks offense. They won the day. Everyone deserves a game ball there.
Yeah, it was a game that it was a really strange game. I mean, on the one hand, you can say the Rams are very happy to win this game, obviously. And, you can't be too disappointed if you're a Seahawks fan because in a lot of respects, they outplayed the Rams for much of this game, really. And, if you're going to rack and stack the NFC right now, I guess you put these two teams at the top. But, man, there's not much separating them right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. And this is what happens when 2 elite, quote unquote, teams get together and you get a nail biter like this, which, let's be real. Rams fans, the Rams universe has been enjoying pina coladas on the football field, just smoking teams the last handful of weeks. So when has it really been stressful? It's been quite some time. It feels like forever now, right? A couple games, bye week, and then, whipping people the last handful of weeks as well. So a close game was due, and for a game that the whole country wasn't able to see, what a damn shame, NFL schedule makers. And again, for everyone that gets a little pissy with flexing, Rams, Seahawks, this game missed it by literally 1 week for flexing, either to a Monday night game, a Thursday night, pretty sure a Sunday night as well. And we all know this would have been flexed on Monday night if this was week 12. No one wants to see Cowboys Raiders and that crappy matchup that's going to happen tomorrow night. But, oh, well, for everyone who did see it on the West Coast, everyone enjoyed one hell of a game. And you know what else I enjoyed, Mark, on a separate thing, which is I'm going to keep bringing up because I like uniforms. I mean, guys, look at this midnight uniform, and we saw the promo video and the promo photos, and, it had the dark background, so it was hard to tell. Guys, this uniform, I'll speak for myself real quick as repping it right now. I had to rep the energy, the midnight energy. This is probably my favorite uniform in this modern rebrand Rams closet that they got going on. Since 2020, this is probably my favorite uniform that they've deployed since they moved into SoFi Stadium. The shoulder horn is beautiful. That's probably my number one reason why I like them, to be honest. Right? The pant stripe, the gradient you can't even really see unless you zoom in. The shoulder gradient you really can't see either. This uniform is good looking to me, and it's not perfect. Wish the numbers were yellow or blue or something like that, but honestly, on TV, in this photo, if you're here on YouTube watching it with us, I mean, Mark, this is a good looking uniform. It is.
Yeah, I was talking to my son about this during the game and how awesome it looked, and I don't think it's a reach to say that we earned maybe a few hundred, few thousand fans. And I'm talking about 8 and 10-year-old kids that
Yeah.
stumbled across a TV set while their parents were watching a football game and glanced up at a game they maybe didn't care much about and said, heck yeah, I like that team. And it's that type of uniform. I really believe that. And, the Rams have earned fans across the country because of past uniforms. And I think it continues with this one. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. And again, my hope, Kevin, Rams creative team, if you're tuning in and enjoying the victory with us, get this jersey template to be the main base jersey template for the regular blue and the regular white and hopefully a yellow, right? Shout out to the 50s championship teams. Literally, copy the shoulder horn design, just change the colors to match the standard blue, standard white, and a yellow. That'd be nice. And everyone would enjoy it. OG guys, I can't stand the modern stuff. Totally get it. If it was like this, I think they would chill out and everyone would buy those jerseys. Look I don't buy Nike jerseys hardly ever, Mark. I had to buy this one because, like $200 usually with tax and wherever else you get them. Sometimes they're cheaper. I get it. But 150 the cheapest, right? And I like to get the ones with stitched numbers in the because the print on ones, they wear out over time. This one I had to get as I'm wearing it today because I thought it looked is the best out of all the modern stuff. So just wanted to shout out all the uniform truthers out there if you're on my side on this. And if you're not, all good. But they look good, and that's all you can ask for. Look good, play good, and kick some ass, and that's what happened. So anyway, all that aside, everyone, let's get into the game here, right? First quarter of action, Rams get the ball to start out. And a decent drive, right, Mark? Couple incompletions, and you see Stafford hit Xavier Smith. He's getting in, and then Kyron had that crazy burst right off the bat. What was it, like 25, 30 yards on that? My
He
memory's
had a
correct.
30-yard run, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, baby, this is exactly what I wanted to see because, hey, we credit the Seahawks defense for being fantastic in the front seven, right? Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, DeMarcus Lawrence, and others. They're fantastic players as a group, and they showed that the rest of the game. But to see that right off the bat, I was like, there we go. Let's send a message that we can run the rock on you guys. And that was good. And right, Kyron, another short run, a little short pass to Kyron as well. And then, on a 4th and 1, Matthew just completely missed it on that bootleg, right? Again, pressure in his face, totally get it. But I've seen Stafford no look getting smacked and make that throw a gazillion times as a Ram these last handful of years. That was open. Devontae was open on that deep crossing route. And I'll look at the film and see who else. But that was incredibly disappointing. I was like, oh, no. Of course, the one time Matthew, in a critical spot, and it feels like a month, a play he makes all the time, he couldn't make it. And I was like, no way this is how we're starting out. Turnover on downs.
Yeah, he seemed to make a hesitation right before he threw it. Kind of did a double pump,
Yeah.
and then kind of weak armed it is what it looked like really to Tyler. And kind of back to the days when we crumble in the red zone, at least at the start here.
Of course, and the way my brain works, as like I watch a lot of film. Shout out to all you guys that tune into the film breakdowns we do on this channel. I was grinding my teeth watching that unfold. I was like, another red zone problem against a good team. I was like, of course, all of a sudden now we're going to start doing this crap again. But hey, early in the game, turnover and down. So I'm like, all right, let's see what our defense can do against their offense. And it wasn't long, Mark. Couple plays later, Cameron Kitchens just jumped that son of a gun beautifully when they were trying to go no huddle, right? If my memory serves me correct, they were trying to hey, we got a good run here on second and short, and they were like, let's just go. And then Sam Darnold just completely forced it, dude. And a good return by Cameron Kitchens that set us up real nice immediately. And I was like, this is exactly a great opening on defense that I wanted to see.
Yeah, Cam Kitchens must be one of the most hated men in Seattle at this point, right? Every time, he's a really good safety, but he's an incredible safety whenever we play the Seahawks for whatever reason.
Yeah, and we'll get to more of his plays later. You know, why Seattle, the state of Washington probably hates that man, even though he's only been in the league a year and a half. It's crazy. But okay, hey, Cameron Kitchens, baller play. And I'm like, thank God. Rams get the ball with decent field position. A couple runs, right? Nothing really going for you in those first and goal situations as Blake Corum was getting stuff. And after the second carry on third and goal, Mark, I was like, okay, can you put Kyron in? They gave it to Corum. They wanted him to get the touchdown for whatever reason. I'm not tripping about it. But Kyron's specialty, we've talked about it, is his short yardage. He is stronger than Blake. He's got more power, right? He's got more short area explosion, if that makes sense, everyone. Like the short yards, so he really turns on the turbo jets to get that yard or two, whatever it is. So on that third and goal, and I was like, all right, Blake can do it. We've seen him do it. But when he didn't get it, I was like, son of a gun, where's Kyron? And then on the very next play, who gets called? Number 23 bulldozes in for that 1 yard touchdown on fourth and goal. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. If we would have lost that and 2 times going from fourth and goal and not, or, fourth and short and not get it, would have been growing more gray hairs than I already have, Mark. But thank God we got it.
Yeah, it was pretty ballsy for McVay because probably more than half the fan base was saying, "Hey, let's do something a little creative here. This isn't working." And that was a theme for the day. Kyron had the hot hand all day long, and
He did, yeah.
Corum kept on getting quick carries, especially on early downs. If I'm not mistaken, he finished
Yeah.
with eight carries for 10 yards.
I know.
So I understand, you want to stick to the rotation, and I've been the biggest fan of, getting Blake, 1/3, 30-40% of the
Me too.
carries. But in this game, Kyron looked like he had it going on. Maybe I think even by this point we knew that he had it going on. So yeah, it was a smart call to get him back in the game on that fourth and goal.
Yeah, go down with your number one running back. If he can't get it, so be it. And to Blake's, I guess not defense, but to Blake's point of view and his rushing attempts, the line didn't block good on like 90% of those. They got blown up, people missed and whiffed. So to his defense, blocking was an A plus. I'll look back at the film to see how true that is. But just watching it on TV, I was like, that wasn't great blocking, or they didn't get a push, or tight ends whiffed or whatever else. So hey, Kyron Williams got it done. That's all we can ask for, really, our main dude, right? So, okay, touchdown, 7-0 at that point. And I'm like, thank freaking God, everyone. As first quarter here, right, we're starting to wind down to the last of it. Seahawks get the ball, and Jigba gets his first catch. Another run by Njigba gets, an end around. And I'm like, can this guy not be the main dude? As, me and Mark were worried about his production going into this game. And he's a good player, no doubt about it. But after, some big plays there, a couple incompletions, I mean, this damn guy, Jason Myers, from 57 hits a field goal, and I was like, son of and hey, we pointed him out in the game preview saying, hey, this guy's a Pro Bowler. This guy's an all-pro kicker. There's nothing that's too far away. Wink, wink. We'll talk about some other stuff later about that. That he can't make, right? That's in reason. And 57 is in his reasonable kicks to make. And I was like, dang it, man. We don't have to worry about this crap all game. So that was, hey, held him to 3, but I was like, damn it. They got that type of kicker over there.
Yeah, hey, if a kicker is going to make a 57-yarder, it's going to be against us. That's just the script.
Yes. The football gods just be killing us, Mark, everyone out there. But oh well. We survived 7-3 at that point, right? So Rams get the ball back. We're still tail end of that first quarter here. And there's a penalty like immediately on the first play. Offensive holding on our, was it Colby Parkinson, I believe, was a tight end, right? He had a lot of penalties and kind of mishaps this game, unfortunately, for just the whole tight end room in general, really. And I was like, dang it. All right, now we're in first and 20, I believe. And then luckily, some screen passes. Love to see it. That's been something me and you have been clamoring for years. Like, can we get more screen passes with the running backs with the tight ends? What did Higbee go for, like 25 on that one and bailed us out? It was good blocking, good design. And I was like, thank freaking God, Mark.
Yeah, 23 yards, 23 yard screen. And I'm not, That seems like the type of play you mentioned running backs. It seems like something
Yeah,
Corum would be really good at, as
I think
opposed
so
to
too.
just
Yeah,
running between the tackles with Blake. That little swing pass they ran to Kenneth Walker at least
yeah,
one time. That was a big pickup. Really hard to defend, as Greg Olson pointed out.
yeah.
Maybe we need to get Blake rolling with those types of plays. But yeah, screen pass to Higbee for 23 yards got us out of a hole there.
Yeah, and Blake, Kyron, I mean, just get again, Kyron's more involved in the passing game, which is good to see. I mean, he was good at that in Notre Dame, which is why we clamor for it all the time with him, at least. But hey, tight ends, we'll take that as the 13 personnel, the 4 tight end Rams. Those guys are producing when they get opportunity, luckily. So get that big first down, get bailed out, and then some battering Ram runs, pun intended, by Kyron there. And then Nakua on the 3rd and 3 bails us, gets us out of trouble. What does he have, like 8, 9 yards on that mark? I
Yeah,
believe
10 yard.
10
Yeah.
yards on that one. I was like, all right, good to see him get involved. Colby Parkinson gets a nice pass right after. And then here we go to your point of Blake Corum getting stuffed on short, down situations, gets slammed. Then Devontae Adams, right? They try to connect on that 3rd and 1, which Stafford just throw the skinny post or the deep end, and he just missed. He just whiffed on that mark. I was like, oh God, are we getting that type of game? Right? The missed 4th and 1. This one, I was like, oh God, we got bad Stafford this game thus far.
Yeah, and I think Adams was a little bit off too. There was at
Sure,
least one
yeah.
pass he should have had, but yeah, they were both, and sometimes a good defense has a little bit to do with that, right?
That too, but I mean, look at the play action. The route was crispy. I mean, look, Stafford wasn't even getting pressured in his face crazy. I mean, I know people were coming through the line, but like, again, we've seen Matthew make ridiculous throws, no looks, and to see him miss this one, including again that other 4th and short one, I was like, bro could hit this with his eyes closed, it feels like, and he just whiffed on that one. So I was like, oh yeah. But McVay, to the kicking point, I was worried about in the game preview, and that you showed your concerns too, Mark. They were like, yeah, screw this. We're going for it on 4th and 1. We're not leaving it in the hands of the thicker kicker, which, okay, you better convert. And luckily, to your point with Kyron earlier, the guy just gashed him again on a could have been risky call, everyone. They ran that outside zone run play, more like a stretch run. Usually you would think, hey, run it straight up the gut, but hey, running into Murphy and Leonard Williams and Ernest Jones, probably not the smartest idea. So they attacked the edges. And I thought Kyron was going to score on that, man. Looked good. And he looked fast, didn't he? Maybe not Jonathan Taylor, Saquon fast, but probably the fastest he's looked in a while, and juked a guy out. And I was like, just dive for the end zone. And he got down the 1 yard line, and that was fun anyway.
Yeah, it seems like our running backs get tackled at either the 1 yard line or
Yes.
the 9 yard line, right?
No
First and
kidding,
goal from
honestly.
the 9, or first and goal from the 1. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's when I knew Kyron had it going on this game. That he already had a 30-yarder, then a 34-yarder, which I think are his 2 longest runs of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
It feels that way. I can't think of any other runs that were more than those off the top
Yeah.
of my head right now, at least for this season. So I was like, all right, cool. And then, the Rams go pretty quickly to the line, and they try to throw that fade to the corner to Devontae. And I thought he had it, Mark, but shout out to Woolen. He got his hands in it. He played it pretty good. And I was like, son of a gun. But can you defend it 2 times in a row? No, you can't. And the Rams did a good job. I really like this play where they have a run pass option, or you guys hear the RPO option, where I'm sure it was always probably going to Devontae, and Matthew said, he's like, yeah, we're throwing this anyway. Where the line are blocking, the running back and the fullback are going ready to lead block and take the handoff. And then the solo receiver is the pass option of this, where he runs that quick slant. So depending on the look, Stafford could have handed it off, but we all know he was 99.9% of the time always going to throw that to Devontae, that quick slant. And Devontae just cooked him. 4 is 1 catch of the day for 1 touchdown and his 1,000th reception as a professional. He's the 17th player in NFL history to achieve this, per the Rams graphic, PR, and all the media team out there, Mark. So, hey, the red zone connection between Matthew and Devontae still is unstoppable, it feels like, unless they just can't connect for whatever reason. And that was a beautiful thing to see. And good on him for making history, as it seems like Rams guys do every week.
Yeah, and I think they sent someone in motion from left to right to kind of clear a space there for him. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
well-designed play, and yeah, Rams go up 14-3 at that point, right?
Mhm.
And you're starting to think, hey, maybe this is going to really go our way. Another easy win, but that would not turn out to be the case.
No. And look at this first quarter is going great, right? You're up a couple scores. You're like, oh, offense is unstoppable like it has been for a month. But, hey, there's a lot more football to be played, and Seahawks are just objectively a well-coached team with good players. And game on, right, at that point. So, still first quarter here. What about a couple minutes left? Less than that mark, if my memory serves me correctly, a minute-ish. So, hey, Seahawks get the ball. Run a couple plays, right? Nothing crazy. And then we finally jump to that second quarter, everyone, after an eventful first quarter. A couple touchdowns, some turnovers. That was a crazy beginning for sure. And this is where they just start chucking away at us, Mark. And this is why I was getting frustrated, just as a fan point of view, right? Where it's like, dang it, a quick little short pass there, a quick, a short run there. It was very like 49ers Shanahan-esque. And again, like we talked about, these roots of the Kubiak, the McVay, the Shanahan offenses all come from Mike Shanahan and that, Bill Walsh school of thought. So everyone's base play calls and execution comes from the same core of play. So my worry was, hey, I'm sure Seahawks are looking at those Niner games and saying, hey, if Mac Jones can rip them apart, just here, nothing crazy, short, just dissect and take what they give you. It was looking that way on this drive, Mark, right? Short pass. And it was that way the whole drive, man. I was like, oh my God. Tight end getting a first down here, and Jigba getting open short there. And that damn Barner, man, he was just getting open short the whole time, just like Niner tight ends have on us. And luckily, though, a couple big incompletions led them to kick a short field goal where we held them, near the fringe red zone, you can call it, right? Nearing the red zone. But that was something I was concerned about, Mark. And we were starting to see signs of that 49ers attack plan kind of come to fruition on that.
Yeah, and Greg Olson talked about it, how the Rams are not going to not going to get beat by JSN. They're not going to let the Seahawks throw it over the top. So in a way, basically the Rams are dictating. The Rams defense is dictating the approach the Seahawks offense is going to have to take. And this drive is also evidence that some of these field goals, if not all of them, we're kicking the ball into the end zone every time, and they're getting the ball in the 35. Couple first downs and you're in Jason Myers' range, right?
No kidding
So
on that.
their biggest play on that drive was 10 yards, and there they are kicking another field goal.
And look at that play. I mean, that whole drive to get that field goal. What was that, 7 minutes? It was a long ass time. And I was like, geez Louise. I mean, if you think about it, a good formula, just dissect, keep the ball away from the MVP quarterback with the offense that just dropped 14 on you in a blink of an eye, right? And that was a good game plan up until that point. Now the Rams get the ball back. They're up 14-6. I mean, this game's still incredibly close, one score basically. And they don't do jack tiddly squat. You get, Blake Corum, and I thought Stafford shouldn't have thrown it to him. I think he should have just dirted it when he was getting pressure, and Blake was just kind of
That play
hedging.
was blown
Hey, you're
up.
getting
Yeah.
pressure. And then Byron Murphy and, who was that? Lawrence just gang tackled them immediately. They lose 5 yards. And I was like, man, I should have just been thrown in the dirt, Stafford. But I get it. Blake looked like he had a chance, maybe. And then Devontae in that 3rd and 9, man. Devontae has been a fantastic player for us, but he could be so much better, Mark. That one where it was a skinny post where Stafford threw it with pressure, was it a perfect pass? Was it behind Devontae? Absolutely. But we've seen Devontae throughout his years make crazier catches than that one was going to be required of him. And that was disappointing. Hit him in the hands and he couldn't bring it in. And I was like, oh my God. We're really giving these sons of guns the ball back that quickly after they had it for the whole half of the second quarter. was frustrating to see them not connect on that. And Devon dropping it. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah, he had two hands on the ball, a little behind him, but you would hope he makes that catch. The Ram receivers that we were used to over the years make that catch. And, Devontae's had a couple of those, not necessarily drops, but just not coming through with the big catch for us.
Yeah, and that's basically what happened. But, oh, well, we live on as 6-14. Got to punt back to those damn Seahawks. And this is where Zach Charbonnet and the run game with him and Kenneth Walker start to get going, right? Charbonnet gets a good gain. And then Kenneth Walker gets that 25-yard plus. And I was like, oh, my God, someone tackle that, man, as soon as he got 10-plus yards on that mark. Because he's got that Charbonnet can hit some long runs and possibly be a house call guy, right? The home run hitter. Kenneth Walker is definitely that guy, as we talked about in the game preview. And I was like, oh, my God, this is the type of lane that he needed. But luckily, we made the tackle. But what was that, 20-something yards later? I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, this was the best I remember a Walker looking against the Rams in my memory. He looked dangerous with the ball in his hands. And yeah, like I said, going in on the Keys to Victory segment, I've always held Zach Charbonnet in higher regard. But in this game, Walker, he had a good game. He looked really dangerous, looked healthy, and looked fast, slashing, breaking tackles. He had a really good day.
Yeah, Mark. Look at Kenneth Walker either has played against the Rams and then eventually got hurt and then missed the rest of the game, or was out. So we haven't seen him a bunch. So this is probably off the top of my head, if my memory is right, the first time he's played a complete game against us in quite some time. So we've seen a lot more Zach Charbonnet, and he's a starting caliber back too. So that was whack to see him chunk a big one on us. And then a couple plays later, Sam just threw all right, let's see if Njigba gets this in a one-hander toe tap. I was like, oh my God, what was that, like 30 yards on Darius Williams? And again, in our Keys to Victory game preview, my worry was one-on-one, we don't have a corner that is active right now that can run with him. And nobody in the NFL really. And that was a moment where, again, big run, big pass. I was like, oh no on that, Mark.
Yeah, and you got to give them that one.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do about that one. He's a great player. I think he's our, I think beginning of this year, I would have thought Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Puka Nacua were the top three receivers in the league. And I think JSN has established himself as the number one guy, in my opinion, and catches like that. What are you going to do? What are you going to do as a defensive back? No, you just got to say, hey, the guy made a great play. Move on to the next one.
Bracket that man, damn it! That's what I say. I'm just kidding. You can't do that all the time, I know. But so hey, they get that big completion, and then they start turning away, and then again that damn tight end Barner, which we know he's a good player. A little just short pass, and he bulldozes forward to get that first down, Mark. Very Niner-esque. Dissect. Another short run, another short run, another short run on 3rd and 5. And then it's 4th and 1. And then Barnard, they got their own Seattle tush push, brotherly shove, whatever they're calling it. And I was like, oh my God, of course, man. And they get it, Mark. That was irritating to see us get beat on that Seahawks version of the brotherly shove on that 4th and 1.
Wow.
And I was like, damn it, dude, damn it.
Yeah. And hey, this will probably be the last year we see that play, I'm hoping. I think it's going to, because there's still instances with the Eagles. It seems like every week, film of them getting to jump on the snap and converting. It's really hard to, I don't know. I'm not saying anything happened on this play, but, the Rams don't seem to be willing to try that. And maybe they could. And other teams are figuring it out. So let's just hope this play is extinct by the time the 2026 season starts.
Yeah, and look, they could still do quarterback sneaks with Barner in the future, but they can't do giant double wing 1940s wedge blocking like the brotherly shove tush pushes, which I ran that play in my life in my younger days. You get beat up pretty fast sometimes. So we'll see what happens in the future, but they got it on us that time. And I was like, this is whack. And hey, Seattle smartly though, Mark and everyone, we're bleeding the clock, right? This was the right game plan. I think some people could take like, hey, what are they doing? What are they doing? No, you want to score with no time left, right? So they're bleeding the clock. Luckily, Charbonnet gets nothing with about, 50, 40 seconds left. Then Sam Darnold gets a short pass to Jackson Smith. But, hey, Kobe Durant makes a great tackle and bounds on that, Mark. And then they lose a lot of time. Seattle's got to burn a timeout with, 10 seconds left? And then, luckily, shout out to the defense, man. They forced Darnold in an incompletion, and then Myers has to kick a short field goal going into the half. And that's a great defensive stand, man. That could have went south tons of different ways on that drive, and it looked like that with a big pass in Jigba, the big run by Walker, the beginning of that. But, hey, red zone defense. Rams were, and I'll be curious to see what they are after this game. They were number 2 best in the NFL going into this game, them in Denver. And they were showing that, hey, you get this close, we ain't letting you score a touchdown. And they showed that at the end. That was good to see.
Yeah, especially with Seattle getting the ball at the start of the second half. And, my special assistant texted me, I think about this point in the game. He said, Chris Shula, someone's going to steal him from us. The way his career is going with the Rams and the way this defense is playing, he may be moving on. It may be another branch of the McVay tree sooner than we would like.
Well, depending on how Miami situation unfolds, the Shula going back to the Dolphins is not out of the realm of reality, which every week it feels like that possible timeline will come to fruition. We'll live in it. I hope not, but it seems like something they would do to kind of cheer up the fan base, right? I hope not, but something that's been pointed out to me many a times. I'm like, I hope that's not going to happen. But hey, we jump to the third quarter now. Rams up at halftime, 14-9. This is still a nail biter. This is still a close game with 2 elite teams facing off. And because the Rams started out the game with the ball, Seattle's going to start this opening second half with the football here. So luckily, Sam Darnold started seeing ghosts yet again, as he 100% was forcing it when he was getting pressure in his face, right? This is the old school where quarterback gurus, quarterback coaches, coaching staffs in general say, if you're going to throw to the sideline late, you better rip that thing with all your might, or you better throw it high or low so nobody can get it. And Mark, this feels like I have to look back at both games, today's game and the playoff game with Darnold, Minnesota, where Kobe Durant got him on that. I think this might be 2 identical plays in 2 different seasons. Darnold was pressured, threw it to the right, and Kobe Durant snagged it on that sideline. It looked exactly the same, which was crazy to see.
Yeah, I forgot about that, and you might be right. And Darnold, the Rams just seem to have his number. And by the way, the announcers were wrong. They kept on saying Darnold 0-2 against the Rams. They're just going back to the Viking season. He was they beat him as the 49ers quarterback, and he beat us as the Jets quarterback. But yeah, he's having nightmares at this point about the Rams defense, I think.
And that was fantastic to see. I was like, what a great start to the beginning of this half. But the Rams said, actually, here's Seattle, take the ball back, as very, very, I don't want to say out of character, but just very shocking to see Nakua fumble, man. And they probably were looking at that Nate Landman filled the Seahawks defense, like, hey, we're good enough to start peanut punching some footballs out of ball carriers, security. And son of a gun, that damn man, Kobe Bryant. No, not Kobe Bryant. RIP to him. Seattle Seahawks Kobe Bryant gets him on that, and they recover, and they get a decent return where Whittington's got to save the day and get a tackle. And I was like, no, that didn't just happen after we got a pick. Couldn't believe it, Mark.
Yeah, and it looked like Puka was doing a good job, a reasonably good attempt at securing the ball. It just got punched out. A guy made a good play, and Kobe Bryant, I think he got drafted the same year as Kobe Durant, and there was a time where I still get the flip-flop their names, but too many NBA names in the NFL for my liking. But
and look at me, you and Paul, we all liked Kobe Bryant coming out too. So I mean, of course he went to our division rival, so he's a good player, and he showed why that's the case right there. And I was like, son of a gun. And okay, Seattle gets the ball back. The football gods bless them with us screwing up on that. And then here we go, Rashid Shaheed deep left. And I was like, oh, no. Right? He had that big 21-yard pass where Emmanuel Forbes was on him. And again, Manuel Forbes is our fastest player, so you want them on their fastest guys. But he got beat on that mark, and that another Barner short pass where he gets more than what he should have been allowed to get. And then they're just turning away again, right? Kenneth Walker, 5 yards. Kenneth Walker for, another 5+. And I'm like, son of a gun right here. But luckily, on Kenneth Walker's, what I thought was a touchdown, too, where, again, he breaks away on the outside and has that home run hitting ability. Thank God it was a holding penalty, because I was for sure like, oh, of course, finally the dam broke on our defense. They can't save the day with offense screwing it up. But we got bailed out on that mark, and we're lucky that happened for sure.
Yeah, and that has happened to us a lot. First
Yeah.
and 10, you're at the other team's 15-yard line. In this case, Seattle's on the Rams 15. First and 10. Last thing you want to do is hold. And I don't know if it really impacted the play, but that's how they call it. And now they're back to first and 20.
Now, first and 20, the very next play, my heart was going to explode, it felt like, as Rashid Shaheed 1,000% got behind Emmanuel Forbes and beat him one-on-one. And I was like, oh, God, here we go. Donald threw it. It was a nice-looking pass. It would look like the trajectory was going to hit him in the lap, but Emmanuel Forbes, thank freaking God, man, just got out just enough to bat it away, man. Full extension, and got out. I was like, thank freaking God, that would have been a disaster after we got lucky to play before.
Yeah, and this is a sequence where, if I'm a Seattle fan, when you start adding these things up, the turnovers, the holding call, this Forbes' ability to tap away what looked like a touchdown pass, and that's why, I mean, on the one hand, if you're a Seahawks fan, you're like, why didn't we win this game? But on the other hand, you're there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You're on the road and these things happen, and you came so close. There's a bunch of plays that went against them, and this was one of them. These two plays that went against them that were crucial. And if they score there, I have a feeling the Rams take a loss here if they score that touchdown there.
I mean, it was feeling that way at that point in the game, right? A lot of things going wrong, and who knows how it would have played out. But I agree with you, Mark. The way the rest of the game played out, it definitely felt like that was not a crazy thing to say right now, truthfully. And, well, we live in the timeline where the Rams defense is top 2 in the red zone. So they balled out, held it, together at that portion of the field. So got to kick a field goal. Rams are still up 14-12, and I'm wiping away my metaphorical sweat at that point. I'm like, thank God, man. That could have been disaster, like you pointed out. So, hey, Rams get the ball back up by 2 points, and then, hey, we're turning away. See a short pass to Nakua. You get another big one to Nakua where he toe taps that in. So good, Mark. I mean, that's his superpower, right? Or one of them, I should say. The physicality, the blocking, and then the dude is making spectacular, insane catches. And it's so shocking. I mean, Nakua just always knows where he's at in the sideline. I can't imagine the insane focus that takes to be able to always get his feet bound. Since he's been a pro, he's always making those sideline catches and making sure he gets both feet. Incredible.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem like, he would be that type of receiver, right? Although the things he can does, and here he is doing toe taps. But, I expect it from guys like JSN. But when Puka can pull off all the other stuff he does, and also that, man, what a complete receiver.
And then, hey, get that play. But then we got a bunch of incompletions, and then another instance where Matthew and Devontae could not get together on a 3rd and long. And now, my memory serves me correctly, I may or may not have mixed that play up with the one I was thinking about where they couldn't connect on that 3rd and long where Devontae dropped it. Now, hopefully I got that right earlier. But either way, everyone, of my memory here, the connection sucked all game. Right? They had the one catch, 1 yard for the 1,000th career catch and the one touchdown, but it just wasn't good enough. And that was another instance where disappointing to see, right? Seahawks defense just making enough happen, but the Rams weren't executing good either. And that was irritating to see after, they score and get another field goal. It's like, damn, we got to get some better drives going here at that point, Mark.
Yeah, it was just an uneven offense all day long. The only thing that was consistent really was Kyron for the most part. He had a really good day, but everything
Yeah.
else just we were just off, and I have to think it had a lot to do with Seattle's defense. The chess match going on here, and some really good players going up, on both sides. Rams offense, Seattle's defense. And, except for the interceptions, Seahawks would probably tell you they feel pretty good about how they played, and their defense is certainly not taking any of the blame. And they actually played really well.
Yeah, and they're great. They got good players everywhere. D line, linebackers, secondary. We knew that, but I still don't think the Rams were playing good football, meaning like, hey, we played up to our capabilities, and if they still get us then so be it. It just looked
Right.
a lot sloppy and passes weren't connected. So that was frustrating. But on the very next, possession for Seattle there, Barner gets a forced fumble by Nate Landman. And gosh dang it, we couldn't recover at that time. But I was like, oh my God, the defense is just everywhere saving our asses here, but couldn't get it. Second and short, no go on, the first down there by Charbonnet. And then there goes Barner again on 3rd and 1. I was like, this son of a gun. But luckily, man, our two outside linebackers, a young gun, Josiah Stewart, and what was that, Jared Verse on that? They blew that son of a gun up, and they did one hell of a job. And I was like, woo, finally, guys. Stop that damn tush push play. I'm tired of seeing it. And they did a good job and forced a punt.
Yeah, from my first reaction to this game is Josiah Stewart has established himself as a real contributor. I think we kind of already knew that, but
Yeah.
he's really, popping on the screen in a lot of plays, and this was one of them.
I know our new number 10, shout out to the old number 10 on the Seattle sideline for being a good player for us. But I still trip out seeing the 10, shout out to King Cup for 2021 championship season. But hey, he's one good player and 3rd round pick, right? I mean, that's a valuable pick, and he's producing like a starter, which is good, which is very good to see him in verse. Balling out on the inside and the outside. But okay, cool. 3 and out from the Seahawks. But the Rams don't do jack tilly squat with that, as they get, Colby Parkinson just had another false start. I was like, what is happening with him today? He just had a
Yeah,
bad beginning of that game. That we luckily, Nakua gets a short pass, converts it for 12 plus on that 2nd and long. And then here we go. Incompletion. Rob Havenstein has a bad false start on
right.
3rd and long, makes it 3rd and even longer. And then Nakua, I thought he was going to get that first down, man. He really bulldozed into it. And Nakua, that son of a gun, he's such a good player. But because we were so backed up, I think Greg Olson said this in the TV broadcast. I mean, that was the right decision. I know a lot of people were like, you got to go for it, man. We haven't done anything. You ain't going for that when you're backed up on your own half of the field, that close to your own end zone, everyone. So that was the right decision, but disappointing though, Mark, right? Just dumb shit happening where the Rams shoot themselves in the foot and they punt again. I was like, for real?
Yeah, and maybe it's my fault because I talked the other day about they came into this game 0 penalties on last week, the least penalized offense in the league, and potentially the least penalized offense in the history of the National Football League. And then they have a bunch of unforced errors in this game. Parkinson, Havenstein on defense, Josiah Stewart lined up in the neutral zone, little things like that. Just a little sloppy, right?
Yeah, this is a big time pressurized game. So, crap like that seems to happen to not just our team or Seattle, but a lot of these matchups. People, the jitterbugs can get to you in a big moment. But luckily, there's a big penalty to start with the offense for Seattle there, right? I think they get holding on the O line, I believe.
Right.
Back them up. And then pressure in Sam Darnold's face, and he 1000% forced that to their young tight end. What is it, Elijah Arroyo? And Cameron Kitchens again, everyone, gets another fantastic interception. Guys, Cameron Kitchens, we're going to take a moment to honor this, has 4 interceptions in 3 career games versus the Seahawks. And for any Seahawks people in here, yes, Cameron Kitchens has only played a year and a half of pro football. He was a rookie last year when he got the Seattle Seahawks twice on Geno Smith, right? The big pick 6, I think the longest in Rams history, if I remember that. He had the other big end zone pick where he brought it out, a decent amount too, or I don't remember. Maybe he knelt it down. And then here we go again. 2 in this game. Mark, 3 career games, 4 INTs, 2 different quarterbacks, 4 amazing plays. Aaron Donald used to own the Seahawks. Maybe number 26 took over that role and will continue to do that for many years to come. Guy is a ball hawk, and he owns the Seahawks currently.
Yeah, it's really weird how that works out. I mean, he's obviously a very good player, but he really steps up against the Seahawks, and sometimes it's just fate.
Crazy.
The ball, the opposing quarterback making bad decisions, and you're in the right place, but you make the play. How many of these DBs have these opportunities, and the ball clunks off their hands? And that's not happening to Cam Kitchens. He seems to have pretty good hands, actually, a knack for the ball, some ball skills. And, his return skills aren't that bad either, as the, 103-yard return last year, I think it was, demonstrated.
106, I think.
106, was it? Yeah, right.
I don't know how I remember that, because I remember being excited on that play, but
we
talked about it a bunch. Tune into that post-game reaction episode if you want to relive that moment with us from last season.
My favorite part of that 106-yard return, if you go back and look at it, I think it was Jake Hummel laying out someone with a block. It just instantly turned into devastating blocker and just laid somebody out and really paved the way for the first part of that return. But sorry, I digress.
No, I mean, it's good times. And Cameron Kitchens, the new daddy to the Seattle Seahawks, which is crazy. 4 INTs in 3 career games, guys. He's only a little over halfway through his second year as a professional. Insane. Shout out to you, Cameron Kitchens. You gosh darn ball hawk. We need more of that in future games, please. So at that point, Mark, we're still third quarter here, everyone. I'm like, please, Rams, do something, because the Rams defense is balling out. Offense, my God, on my head. I'm like, get it together. So run a couple plays, and then finally, after a chaotic third quarter where a bunch of, just long drives, back and forth punts, we enter the fourth quarter, right? Here we go, everyone. Fourth quarter time. A nice run by Kyren Williams on a 3rd and short, where he gets like 10, 11 yards on that. I'm like, let's go, baby. And then old friend from the Seattle Seahawks, Colby Parkinson, gets a really tough 6-yard run. And now let me say this real quick. We've given Colby Parkinson a lot of shit in the past. You, I, Paul, everyone else who's joined this channel, where he's a big guy, but it feels like he gets tackled too easy all the time. And even there's moments in this game, it happened a few, but throughout his career, at least with us, I'll speak for it. It feels like, Colby, run over that guy. But in this moment against his former team, he bulldozed and made sure he got in the end zone for that 6-yard touchdown. As, hey, finally, Mark, finally, we stopped screwing around and points on the board, which felt like it's been forever. 2 quarters later, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, and we're all thinking about Cooper Kupp, getting back at his old team, and we forgot about Parkinson, right? Yep. And that catch and run, I'm sorry, but number 39 on the Seahawks, he's not going to have fun watching that play on tape. It was not a good look, but Parkinson, made a good play. And, again, I'm going to go off on a little tangent. I don't know what happened to Davis Allen in this game, or Terrence Ferguson. I know we got out of 13 personnel a lot, but Higbee had a catch or 2. I think I have some data here on the tight ends. It's kind of a disappearing act for these other guys, which really surprised me. But maybe it was because, as Greg Olson said, getting back into 11 personnel a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle defended the 13 and the 12 really good. Let's just call it what it is. They have a great D-line. They have fantastic inside Mike linebacker, former Ram Ernest Jones. They have another good inside linebacker as well. And then on top of that, I mean, Mark, they have a fantastic secondary, right? Witherspoon, Woolen's been playing better. Even Worry is a guy that we, raved and wanted as a Ram, right? Who else am I forgetting about? Kobe Bryant, others guys I'm blanking on right now. So they can handle it out of their base 3-4 scheme, and they have been, and they did against us. So to your point with the tight ends really not popping off like the last handful of games, they are an elite defense, whether they're base 3-4, nickel, dime, quarter, whatever it is. They can handle a lot of different stuff, and McDonald's coaching up pretty dang good on that. So finally, regardless of all that, Colby Parkinson, bless you for getting in the end zone. Hey, he had some bad moments earlier in the game, right, Mark? So thank God he got in there, and a touchdown will make up for a lot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So finally, everyone, fourth quarter touchdown. 2 quarters later, thank freaking God. So Seahawks get the ball back. I think was there a penalty on them for like illegal formation? Was somebody off the line for Seattle, Mark, or something like that? I don't remember exactly. The kick
I
return for them.
there. Oh yeah, on the
Yeah.
return, illegal formation on the kickoff.
Yeah, I'm saying, did they not have enough guys at the line
Yeah,
or something
right.
like that? I
Maybe
don't
that must
remember
be what it was.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, cool, we'll take it. So, they're backed up a little bit further as, yes, we've been booting into the end zone. So the 30-yard line to the 35, we'll take that. And, hey, a couple big, little chunk stuff, not big, but chunk runs with Charbonnet. Kenneth Walker gets that screen pass that you alluded to
Right.
earlier for what was that, like
Yeah.
almost 20 yards. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, the 3rd and 1. I was like, son of a gun. But, my ready to, I was like, oh my God, please somebody get that man. Because again, he's got that home run hitting ability. They bring him down, luckily. They get a couple more decent runs with Walker. They're in a second and manageable. And then Sam Darnold pissing his pants, basically, it feels like, where pressure was around him. And he totally just got flustered, Mark, and said, oh my God, don't take the sack. And he just completely, to me, just out of fear, I'll look back at the film, just blindly threw it. What was that, to Arroyo or Barner? I
Or
forgot what tight end that
it
was.
was for Arroyo. Yeah.
Arroyo. And then, D. Will, man. Darius Williams, who used to be the king of getting crazy interceptions when he was a younger guy with our Super Bowl team. Oh, great play. I was like, oh my God, we got him 4 times. I cannot believe it, but I could believe it, right? Sam Darnold's had some bad moments as a player against his Rams team, whether he was a backup Niner, a Viking, or now as a Seahawk. But I was like, oh, thank God. Let's put this game away. But I mean, Mark, I don't know who tweeted this out. I want to say shout out to Tuna from First and Tuna. Shout out to you, brother, if you're watching this episode and all his great content. Check out his Rams content, everyone. His website, his film breakdowns, his podcast, et cetera, et cetera. I think he put a tweet out and he was like, yeah, Sam Darnold's trading in avoiding sacks to throwing interceptions. And that's 100% true, right? The one to Kobe, forced it because he was going to get sacked. This one, forced it because he was going to get sacked. The other ones were just felt like just bad decisions, really. But oh, what a great play, Mark. D. Will, good return. And, Sam he panics when he gets pressured, man.
Yeah, and worth mentioning, Cam Kinchens was in on the coverage on that play.
That too, yeah.
And I think what Greg Olson was alluded to, I don't know if it's true or not, but Arroyo should have, Darnold expected him to break it off to come across the middle. And there was 2 guys covering vertically, and he didn't do that. But Darnold is really good at extending plays and dodging pass rushers, and sometimes he chooses not to do that and tries to make these ill-advised throws, and this was one of them.
And I was like, let's put it away. But no, the Rams said, no, we can't put it away. They go 3 and out immediately, right? A run with Blake here, a run with Blake there. Another short pass to Devontae that just had no shot either. And I was like, what are we doing? And I was irritated after that. But hey, Seattle gets the ball. They don't do Jack Tilley's squad on that either, where, I thought Jared Verse got him, Mark, on that.
All right.
They ruled it at first, but all right, incomplete pass. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to get 5 turnovers on Sam Darnold. I think I put out a tweet post being like, they have 4. Can they get a 5th? And that was like right before that happened. I was like, oh my God, they did it. Didn't count. I was disappointed. But hey, they forced a 3 and out. And I was like, man, this defense is just so effing good, dude.
Yeah. And, I didn't really see this coming. I knew it was going to be, this score was going to be on the under, but I didn't expect the defense to play this good. The points that Seattle has been putting up. So yeah, kudos to them. Just an all-around great effort and great game plan by Chris Shula, and these players are obviously being coached in the correct way to execute the game plan, and it's working.
And what did the Rams offense do with that? Nothing. And this drive really pissed me off, Mark. You're about what? 7-ish minutes left or so, right? 8 minutes around that ballpark. And they run it. Short little pass right into Nakua. And then they get blown up again on 3rd and short, and they have to punt it back. I was frustrated at that point, man. And I get it. Seattle's front is good. They are an elite defense this season, and they were showing that against us. But I just felt like McVay, the creativity with all the run play action passes just went away, man. And I was like, yeah. If we think we're just going to be like, hey, our O line against your D line, more times than not, the better D line wins that. And let's be real about it. Our O line didn't play well today in terms of the run game, and they got bullied around. Same as our tight ends. So I want to see better play calling in that situation, Mark. Definitely with after multi stops, a turnover, and you still can't do nothing with it. I was frustrating, man.
Yeah, especially when it's like you just pick up a couple of first downs here and move on to the next game. But we just did not have that killer instinct in this game. You're probably right. It does start with the play calling.
Yeah,
and maybe he was just so satisfied with the way the defense was playing. But that's a dangerous game, man. It's a dangerous game.
I don't like that game, and we played that way too much today. So Seattle gets another chance, right? And here we go. They start popping up. Kenneth Walker again, short, scoots and, scattles his way for 20-plus yards. I was like, gosh, dang it. And here we go. The very Niner-esque way of attack. I keep bringing them up because this is the game plan they've deployed on us. And Seattle, not a shock. When they've moved the ball, they've done this, right? Short pass there. A decent run here. Short pass, short run, short pass, short run. And Jigba, right, gets another 13 yards. And then all of a sudden, Mark, they're 1st and goal. And I'm like, oh my God, dude.
It's too easy.
Are we
too
in
easy.
this situation right now? Like, we're barely up, and this is like they're closing the gap this much after all that happened. Well, they did. Kenneth Walker slams it in for that 1-yard touchdown after I thought Cooper Kupp was going to get us on the play before, where I was like, oh, of course Kupp's going to get his 1 touchdown. And if you think about it, Kupp didn't do Jack Tilley squad up until that drive, right? He got some sideline passes, some short stuff. He had that one big play there where I thought he was going to slide into the end zone or get in. But I guess not a shock, right? When you involve the former Triple Crown guy, I guess good things happen. And on that drive, he was involved, and they moved the ball way too easy. And I was not feeling good, Mark. I was not happy with how this is turning out. 19-21. We're barely up. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I was seeing the headlines already. Darnold, four Seahawks overcome Darnold's 4 interceptions, pull off late win against Rams.
Yeah.
But that's the worrywart side of me as I'm watching games, I suppose.
So, hey, Rams have a chance to, put in the knockout. Very similar to week 1 against Houston, right? You're in a narrow game where a win is very close to the opposing team you've been holding in check. I was there at that week 1 game where the Rams, did seal the deal with like, hey, you're not getting the ball back. On the very first play, jet sweep, love the play call, get into Nakua's hands, let him bulldoze guys and, run around dudes. And what does he get, like 18 yards on that, 20 yards a mark?
Yeah, 18,
and then we get to what, the 2-minute timeout there, or they call a timeout, right? Seattle was smart about it. They were like, let's just call it there. That's right. Am I remembering that correctly? And then Kyron just gets bulldozed and doesn't get anything. So now we're 2nd and 10 at the 2-minute warning. And I was like, I don't like the way this is going. Then another run doesn't get Jack Tilley squat, right? Nakua gets nothing on another jet sweep. I get it. 1 jet sweep was good. I think, how about another creative run? And again, we've seen McVay. It just felt like the whole second half just wasn't creative enough. And again, get it in Nakua's hands. Totally get it. But that didn't do anything. And then we go for the kill shot, which I'm totally in favor of. No different than that Houston game where we faked the play action. It was a rollout. Stafford hit Nakua in that game, right? I want to believe they play action in this. If my memory is right, Mark. Is that correct? They play action faked?
On this play?
Yeah, on the 3rd and 10.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah.
I'll look back at the film. If I'm wrong on that, apologies. And then pressure. You can't throw an incompletion. The shout out to Greg Olson and Davis. I mean, they highlighted that a gazillion times. That's football 101. I mean, Stafford's just got to eat it, right? I mean, let's be honest. If you're not going to for sure complete it, you got to eat it. And they whiffed on that, man. Stafford whiffed. And again, I'll look back at the film. I don't remember exactly if it was tip. No tip, right, Mark? None of that?
I don't think so. I think it was.
Yeah.
I think Adams was kind of covered pretty well, and he. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get a good review of that play, but I don't think
Yeah.
it was really close to being a completion.
And I was like, you gotta be effing kidding me. We really had a chance to end it, and we blew our opportunity, and they still have a timeout. That was the biggest thing, right? Complete the pass regardless, make them burn it. So then, they got to go in panic mode to get a game-winning touchdown and or field goal. But at that point, Mark, I was like, we're really going to let Sam Darnold after 4 INTs and a horrible game. Are we really going to let him drive down and beat us? That thought was front and center in my brain. And I was like, I can't believe this is a serious possibility right now. I was flustered, pissed, and nervous at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I felt all those things, but I also felt like, it's kind of their own fault. They're not playing like they deserve to win
Yeah.
at this point. Especially the offense. I felt bad for the defense because they were on the field a lot
Yeah, they
and they
were.
were making play after play. I mean, they're giving up some yards here and there, obviously, but for the most part, they put the team on their shoulders, especially in the second half, in the first half too, holding them to all those field goals. So,
Yeah.
one last drive for the Seahawks here to see if they can win it.
God, and I was like, I can't believe it. But the guys, I think this is the best do or die scenario for a punt, the best I've ever seen from a Rams team.
Yeah.
This man, Ethan Evans, as he was flexing pregame, wearing his shout out to the rivalry's midnight uniform. Hey man, we know this guy can squat a gazillion pounds. Look at the biceps popping out in the game day apparel he's got on there. This guy had the best punt I've ever seen in a critical situation in Rams history that I can think of. Now, is there more in a playoff game in a Super Bowl? I'm sure there probably is. But in a do or die, man, this punt's got to be good. No touchback. Let's pin him in the 10, the 5 at the 1 yard line, perfectly out of bounds. That was fan freaking tastic, everyone. Baller, Ethan Evans. We needed it, and he did it. Oh,
Yeah,
a
and to
great
be
punt.
and to be honest, he's been pretty inconsistent this year. He hasn't been
He
the
has.
best. He has moments, and then you're like, what was that? I mean, he had one really bad kick in the same game,
Yeah.
but that one, as one of the commentators, I don't know, it was Greg Olson or Joe Davis called it a hole in one, basically,
Yeah.
a 50-yard hole in one with a football, basically, is what it was.
So that went as perfect as possible as, yeah, that's right, baby. Flex on him. Ethan Evans, as again, that was the best do or die punt in a crazy, like do or die scenario I've ever seen, at least off the top of my head. So shout out to that man there. My God, we needed that badly. And from that beginning of the drive for Seattle at their own 1 yard line, crazy. I was like, oh my God, are they gonna get a safety? That would have been beautiful. Just kind of like how that Vikings game ended last
Right,
year.
with Byron Young,
I was
yeah.
thinking, like, yeah, give us a safety. But that didn't happen. Barner gets, a short pass. And then Puna Ford, thank God, man. He gets his hands up, smacks one down. Now they're in 3rd and 6. But and that son of a gun Barner, man. They left him open. He barrels through for about 9-10 yards. I was like, dang it, dang it, dang it. And then, hey, a couple times getting pressure, trying to force it to Cooper Kupp. They get another short pass to Charbonnet as, hey, our defense is holding up pretty good in the back end. I'm curious to look back at the film and see what coverages they're running. Seemed like cover 6, which is quarters, right? 2 guys deep on one side, 1 guy deep on the other. Maybe some cover 8, which is the flip of that. That's another term. It's probably cover 4, 4 people deep. They were like, yeah, we're not letting you get any yardage. You're going to have to connect short. And that's what was force fed, right? Sam Darnold to Njigba short, to Barner, Charbonnet short. And then they had that one where, D Will got for about 12 yards. And it just felt like with all that going on, Mark, I was like, yes, keep burning time. Keep burning time. I felt like they didn't go fast enough, which benefited us a ton on that, Mark, as they were getting
Yeah,
yardage.
yeah, agreed. And the commentators noted that as well. Just a little slower pace than you would expect.
So, I mean, hey, now we wind down to what, 15, 17, 20 seconds or so? Let me get that right. 17. They finally take a timeout. Or no, Rams take a timeout. I think after Njigba got us pretty good on that 12-yard pass. I was like, oh my God. Then, hey, pressure, incomplete. And then, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to us. Emmanuel Forbes get called for, what was that? Pass interference?
They called it they called it pass interference. It's a little tug on the jersey.
Yeah, I feel like more
Apparently the ball
holding,
was in
which,
the air. Yeah.
hey, the difference between what, 13, 14 yards, 15 yards
Yeah.
compared to a 5-yard penalty, I was like, I can't believe this is happening to us. And then on the very next play, I thought they blew it. I 1000% thought they screwed it up. Darnold's looking. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to run out of time. Oh, yes. And then throws it short to Shaheed. And I thought time was going to run out. Now, this is very conspiracy theorist of me. Did it feel like watching it that 1 second held on for more than 1 second? Did it feel that way? Anyone else? Mark, did it feel that way to you?
That play seemed to take longer than the amount of time
5
that ran off
seconds.
the clock.
Yeah.
And that was a great strategy by the Rams, just not pressuring. And Darnold was almost like, oh, I got all day back here. Let me see what I can do with it.
And it was 1 yard short of Myers, I guess, career long. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be insane. And again, I thought they blew it. I thought that play clock went on for a second and a half longer than it should have. And I thought it should have been over. But refs, game clock in stadium, I wasn't there. It all worked out in their favor. They didn't screw it up, but I thought they did. Couple timeouts, right? Just to kind of, think things over and make the kicker think. And at that point, Mark and Rams Nation out there, I'm watching. I'm like, if we lose this game, if we lose this damn game, I am going to rip this offense so bad in this post-game episode. But we live in the good timeline where it was way too far from Myers. He whiffs it far right. And I honestly, Mark, I was like, dude, he's going to make this. I was like, he's an all-pro kicker. This is the difference between a team that doesn't have a kicker or has kicking issues to a team that can throw 4 interceptions and still win a game. And I thought we were going to have that crappy discussion today, you and I. But we live in the good timeline, everyone, where wide right, everyone's, celebrating at the stadium, all the sideline, everyone's fired up. And thank the football gods that we did not blow that game, Mark, as we win that son of a gun 21-19 in the Midnight Robberies uniform. As Rams go 1-0 in those now. Thank God.
Yeah, and it was such a big game too, because you lose that game, and there's some other teams lurking in this wild card hunt. The Bears are on a run here, and you want to be atop of this division. You want to stay atop this division because it's going to be a rat race the way the wild card race is breaking down. 49ers are going to be in the hunt. The two teams that don't win the NFC West, and you got the Bears and the Packers, so winning this division is paramount at this point. And this game, in that part of the calculation, this game is extremely important. Obviously, we all know that, but it would just been devastating to lose at the end, man. And if there's a stadium, he's going to make that kick at SoFi, right? So I was pessimistic alongside of you. I really was.
Yeah, I was ready to go nuclear on this Rams offense today and the play calling and the execution, but we live in the good timeline, everyone, where the Rams defense and Ethan Evans' do or die punt saved our asses at the end there. Let's call it what it is. And thank freaking God we got that going here. Because, I mean, guys, we look at the box score here. I mean, it was just yay, first quarter, and then a whole, the rest of the game was just a nail biter. And yes, we did get a couple touchdowns in the third, there. And I know the fourth, nothing there. That's an error on our end. Apologies on that. But hey, nail biter, nail biter, nail biter. As we look at that scoring summary, right? You get the Williams, you get a bunch of field goals from Myers, which was clutched by our number 2 ranked red zone defense. You get Devontae, his 1 catch for 1 touchdown. And his 1,000th career, all the ones, just makes me laugh on that. Colby gets his revenge touchdown, and then the miss by Myers at the end, Mark. Thank freaking God. Look at the team stats, everyone. Look at that time of possession, how insanely lopsided that is, with Seattle having feels like almost double the amount of time of possession. Felt that way. 37 minutes to 22. First downs, 26 to the Rams, 12. Crazy. Total yards, 414 to 249. Crazy. Sam Darnold threw for 279. Matthew only had 130. Crazy. Rushing, Seahawks had 126. Rams only had 74. Now, Rams probably should have, figured out better run plays instead of just running outside zone, inside zone, and duo. This is my issue with the team. They have guys that can run counter and trap and do other stuff outside of the same 3 run plays, which irritates me some weeks, like this game. I think it'll get better as the year goes on. But averaging 5.4 yards per carry, it's got to be more creative with how you design run plays, McVay, what you call. But the big difference, right? Rams had the 4 turnovers, which is beautiful. But no
Yeah,
team.
if you look at, yeah, I was going to say, if you look at the first 7 rows there, not knowing anything else, you would have thought the Seahawks won this game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Rams yards per rush is a little skewed. If you took the mean, it's probably closer. If you took the median, I should say, it's probably closer to 3 yards, because we had a bunch of zeros and negatives, and then we had two 30+ yard runs by Kyron, which really skewed the data there.
Yeah, it skewed it. But again, the turnover battle, 4, it's just insane, dude.
Yeah.
4 to Puka Nakua's 1 fumble, which is, I don't think that'll ever happen again, hopefully. And I'm sure he'll get that Polynesian power to hold it in a little bit tighter. But I thought it was a good punch out anyway. It wasn't like he was holding it loose. So there's that, everyone. And then how about the player stats? And let's highlight this son of a gun first, right? Matthew Stafford, 15 of 28 for 130, but he had 2 touchdowns, right? But to add to that as well, everyone, in the last 7 games for Matthew Stafford per the NFL, 22 touchdowns, 0 INTs, helping our Rams squad go to 5 straight wins. That's the key right there. Do you see that, everyone? Let's double check that for yourself. 22 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That is an elite stat right there. And that's elite play to not put the ball in harm's way, where, hey, we live and die by Matthew Stafford's arm. We've seen the years past, the Super Bowl year. Threw the ball a lot. Got picked off quite a bit. He was still clutch, still elite. The gunslinger thing, that's what happens. But this season is just so obscurely great, right? Where in a game like this, you would think, oh, did Matthew have some turnovers where, we didn't get offensive drives going? No, it wasn't the case. And the last 7 games for him, that's a crazy stat, Mark.
Yeah, and this is not his best effort, but
Sure.
hey man, he's still, he's got to be right now my number 1 quarterback in the National Football League, despite this, not his best effort, but he's still our guy. I think he'll bounce back next week against the Bucs to his old self. Him and Devontae will get back on the same page, and we'll just keep on rolling.
It feels that way. And in case you forgot, Matthew Stafford, since joining the Rams in 2021, has never lost to the Seahawks. He is now 6-0. Now you can say,
crazy.
Yeah, they've lost to Seattle since 2021. Yes, he didn't play in those games. Either he was hurt or they, rested him like last year, where it was like, hey, we don't need to play against the Seattle. So, that is a crazy stat. Again, since 2021, Matthew Stafford, when he is starting against the Seahawks, has never lost as a Ram. 6-0. That's great.
That's crazy. And I'm trying to think, who were the quarterbacks that took his place? It wasn't Baker Mayfield, was it? Or who was
Baker a couple times, I believe, or at least one time.
Yeah, maybe it was the one game at the end of the year there.
Jimmy.
Right. Jimmy played the season finale last year as well.
Maybe I think John Wolford did. I think in that 2022 season as well, where they lost narrowly. I can't think of them all either, but Matthew Stafford, undefeated Seahawks fans out there. Sorry, the streak continues, and we'll see each other later this year on the primetime game to see if it keeps going, which would be great for us. But freaking A, Mark, let me pull up the other stats real quick. Shout out to Stafford there. Kyron, 12 for 91. Damn. Would have been nice to see him get the ball a little bit more. Again, to my point earlier, just different types of run plays, not just inside zone, outside zone, and duo. Kyron can do more. This Rams O-line can do more. McVay, you can call better stuff and design better stuff. I know it's in the playbook. We've seen it. But so be it. We won today, right? Corum 8 for 10. A lot of the run plays weren't blocked well. Corum's not a short yardage guy, but we know he could do it. But the run game just wasn't there. Nakua 7 for 75, productive. Devontae's 1 catch, 1 touchdown. I guess what's the word I say? 1 real attempt, right? Crazy. Tight ends only 3 for 37. Colby's, lone touchdown there. We wish that was a lot better, right? Ferguson not involved, what you pointed out earlier, Mark. And Davis Allen, Seahawks defended the tight ends really well this game. But again, the big difference, right? Cameron Kitchens, the new Seahawks daddy, 2 INTs, Williams and Durant interceptions. Shout out to the secondary, man. They against a good pass catching group, they made Sam Darnold look foolish today.
Yeah, and I have to give a shout out to Mina Kimes. And I talked about her prediction for this game that the Seahawks are not afraid if you go to 13 personnel. Yep. And my comment on that was maybe the Rams will flex out of it because of the data she shared, and that's exactly what happened.
And we survived it. Thank you, Sam Darnold, as you went 0 for 4, 0 touchdowns, 4 INTs, had 279, but a lot of them was just dinking and dunking, and you just had the ball a lot more than our guy. Walker, 16 for 67, a touchdown, right? Had a lot of big plays in the receiving game. He went over 100 total yards on us. Thank God he didn't kill us in a loss. Charbonnet, productive, right, with his small attempts. And Jigba went up for 100. Luckily, that was all the damage. 9 catches, 105. There's some instances where it looked like it could have been worse, but it wasn't. And then Barner had a nice day against us. That son of a gun up the middle, 10 for 70. And then Cooper Kupp, his lone catches late in the fourth quarter, 3 for 23. But, all the other guys were not as effective. And Rams defense, man, they just held on. We're put in bad spot after bad spot after bad spot, Mark. And they saved us. And who deserves the game ball for that? Yeah, Chris Shula. Great scheme, right? Wasn't perfect. No game is ever perfect, but I'm curious to see the film, Mark, and all the exact types of coverages as, the Rams defense, they're complicated, right? We run combo coverage. One side looks different than the other. We run a lot of quarters with a lot of rules depending on how routes and like how you hand off, like, hey, he's going to you now. You got to take it. Match zone stuff, right? Man to man every once in a while. Different blitzes, different packages with all these crazy coverages and combo coverages. Yeah, Chris Shula deserves a game ball, Mark. And no doubt, Cameron Kitchens, Williams for his running, Puna for a decent job today up the gut, making big plays. All these guys, man.
Yeah, and I probably could have included Ethan Evans just for that last.
Yeah. I mean, true. Yeah. Absolutely.
And,
we highlight
and
him
if you and for those of you on the YouTube channel, I can be pretty petty. Every one of the photos I included on these slides is of the defense. I did not include anybody from the offense.
That's
all
fair.
Defensive snapshots from the Rams.com.
Yep, that's fair for you to do that based on today's performance from the Rams offense. Yes, they scored 21. We're thankful, but that should have been much more to that total. We feel like, and I'm sure they feel like as well as Devontae.
Or it could have been less if not for our defense.
Well, that's no kidding on that. So, thank freaking God, everyone. Guys, the post-game reaction here. Thanks for tuning in on this as the Rams win 21-19. And hey, if any Seahawks fans want to talk, SH, you know what I mean to you, just say, hey, your quarterback can't beat the Rams as a Niner, as a Viking, or as a Seahawk. And that's just the truth, ain't it? As, yes, again, also, these midnight uniforms. Please, Kevin, make that the standard jersey template. Give us the shoulder horn. And they look good. And thank God, 1-0 in the midnight. And we'll see them again next year, either against the Cardinals or the 49ers. As again, these uniform set cannot be worn against any other team other than NFC West foes once per year. But I have a feeling after that's done, They're probably going to make this part of their regular alternate wardrobe where they can wear it 3 or 4 times. It feels like it's going to end up being that way, Mark. But
I'm all
we
for
get
it.
out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, shout out to all you guys again. If you're on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy our content, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future content from us in this fun 2025 season. And if you're on the audio only or podcast only side of things, share this podcast, share this audio with all your fellow Rams fans out there. It helps other Rams fans see our content, everyone. But we very much appreciate any of those options, right, Mark?
Oh, absolutely. It was a fun game, a stressful game. Someone said on the YouTube channel, this is going to be one of those pacing back and forth across the living room games. And it was exactly that. But they get the W and move on to hosting Tampa Bay. Another really interesting game. That's going to be a fun one, too.
And I will be there for that game, Rams Nation, as I'm not missing an Aaron Donald bobblehead day and his ceremony, which is his jersey getting retired? I don't think I've read that officially anywhere. That'd be cool, right? Pittsburgh just retired the University of Pittsburgh, retired his number 97 this past Saturday. And why not? Rams retired 99. And if he wants to come suit up and Matthew Stafford gives him a call like he told him he would in this podcast, I'm going to hit you up later this year, then unretire it for the man himself, the GOAT. So, hey, buy your tickets to that game. The Buccaneer game is going to be tough. I assume a lot of their pass catchers are going to come back this game, and that's going to be a fun battle to see on primetime, right? Sunday Night Football under the lights. That should be a fun game as the Rams, I believe, are wearing the white and yellow pants on purpose, like to honor, right, Donald, the Super Bowl, uniform. But, man, I'm excited for that one, Mark. And the journey continues on as we still got a lot of crazy games, but this was the one circled and they got it done. And I love to see it. But hey, whether you were there at the game, repping your midnight jersey, your royal, your yellow, whatever you got, whether you're watching the game with family, like me and Mark were, whether you're at the bar with friends, whether you're on your little tablet watching it on some sites I will not say, as you know what I mean, with YouTube TV having issues. Guys, rep your Rams, rep it loud, rep them proud, and hey, tell those Seahawks fans, go Rams, baby.